Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about database-driven tabletop role-playing design. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is that the game is not just a text, but all of the data in the text is held in a database and is held in a structured manner. Now, what are the advantages of a database driven design? Well, the first thing is if you keep all of your game assets in the database, such as classes, lineages, that's races, abilities, spells, monsters, magic items, then you have got a single source of truth on that. You've got a backup. Your desktop publishing files can become corrupted. Databases are more robust, especially backup and so on. So you've always got that there as a measure. The second big reason is because it's a relational database. So if um, something changes across the game, such as the statistics for a class or a lineage, a race, um, then every single one of your characters that reference those tables, they'll automatically update. Of course, this is the great advantage of relational databases. And the third and final reason is it makes the transition to um, character generation, online character generation, much easier. And in the longer term, um, virtual tabletops much easier. Now, of course, when you're dealing with computers, computer gaming, um, a lot of loosey-goosey rules um, with it are very hard to translate. Like, if this happens, then that happens. Of course, um, in many cases that will involve GM intervention, but having a database driven design really makes you want to try to minimize that to things that you can easily do with structured queries and clear hard rules. Okay, so let's have a look at the database design for my own. Here we can see the basic relationships between the table. So here we can see there's the characters and everything in the is related to that. So we have background, lineages, um, we have sizes, so the different sizes, small humanoid, large humanoid, and how that affects various stats. Um, how leveling affects various things and classes, and this basically does all the calculations for you regarding the derived stats such as saves, squish points, um, level proficiency, and for attack, and so on. So thank you very much. So here you can see it has a number of different layout. It's all done in FileMaker, and FileMaker is easy to use, so that was why I've done it. In the longer term, I want to obviously convert it to a more professional database. But if we go here, you'll see that there's a number of layouts. So this is the layout for designing characters, and there are layouts here. If we just have a look at view, go to layout, spells, and I'll just zoom in on that. So you can see that all the data for the spell is there. And certainly doing this in this very structured way helps. A number of monsters, for example. Oh, I've forgotten to include things from this field. It's interesting to see monsters. So let's go to the layout for monsters, and you can see all of the data for the monster is there, and and if we go back to the layout for abilities, you see each of the abilities for the classes are there. There's over 540 of them. And it really mainly comes together when we look at characters. Whoops, sorry, view characters. And so this automatically calculates for the data. See here we've got a character that's a cleric. Let's change it to a barbarian, and it automatically calculates. See, it's got more squish points being a barbarian, so it automatically, not very optimized barbarian, 0 in beef. So let's make that +2, and jock of 0, geek of 1, and riz of 0. So it's automatically calculated the saves, the squish points, the blooded value, all of the statistics for this barbarian. Let's change it to an Neanderthal from a goblin, and you see it's now much bigger, and its stats change. The gnome was harder to hit because they're so small, whereas standard avoiding being hit, which is like an evasion figure, and it's got a different speed because the other trolls are just a head high, larger than humans. And this keeps everything together in the database. There's some things with character creation that are not yet implemented, particularly the skills, because often with skills, in a class you might say choose 3 of the following 5 skills. Now that can be done in FileMaker, but I've got to learn how to do it, and I don't want to do it in a way that's going to be very hard to translate over to an online database. But I mean, all the skills are here. You just choose your skill level. So I haven't chosen any here, but let's say I choose as one of my skills as a barbarian, trained level in acrobatics, and that gives you, because he's got um, um, target value of above average, that gives him a +1 buff there. In terms of so let's say I give it athletics as well. I make that trained level, and there that's +3 because it's got a nice high brawn. Let's get back here too. I'll make it level 5, and da 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 da. So a lot of things are not yet implemented, like all the leveling up things, improvements to attributes based on level. The only reason that's not done is because there's a choice element. For some classes you can choose which of the following attributes, one of 2 to increase at certain levels. That hasn't been implemented yet. Abilities haven't been implemented, etc. Spells, but basically, all of the hard math is done, and so it cuts down character creation time by about 50%, 60, 70% probably. And you'd really just have to look up your abilities, choose your abilities, which are mainly given to you at level 1 anyway, and write these down on your character sheet. So this will give you, makes character creation much easier. Not quite to D&D Beyond or Path Builder level yet, but I think we're more than halfway there. So what I want to do with this is have some fun and make some characters. And I thought, well, apart from Baldur's Gate characters, which is the kind of most famous character in the TTRPG space, not just Dungeons and Dragons, but everything. And I thought, of course, it's Professional Dungeon Masters Deathbringer. So in the next video, we'll be creating a nice high level, probably something like level 10, Dark Paladin character, and completely fill out everything for that character, including abilities that are, exactly related to the comic persona of the Deathbringer character, which I think is really like a comic book character. So it would be a lot of fun thrashing that out. Thank you very much, and we'll speak to you soon.